Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the sixth lecture titled Rest in Belief. In our previous session, we witnessed the failure of mid-Acts dispensationalism, which caused a doctrinal disaster by attempting to lump Paul's 13 epistles together. The biblical timeline did not stop at Acts 9 or Acts 13. It was advancing toward a much deeper abyss. However, throughout church history, there was a great scholar who pierced through this thick fog and finally discovered the most massive spiritual boundary line in the book of Acts. An Anglican theologian and a genius of linguistics, E.W. Bullinger. Today we will finally encounter the great insights of Bullinger, which became the motif for our channel. And simultaneously, we will share a thrilling moment as we perfectly place the final puzzle piece that he left unsolved. E.W. Bullinger pierced through the secret of Acts 28, the massive fault line of the Bible that no one else had seen. He realized that the prophecy of Isaiah, Acts 28:28, which Paul cried out to the Jews in the Roman prison, was not a mere rebuke, but the turning point declaring the total blindness of the nation of Israel. Bullinger's insight shines brilliantly right here. Using Acts 28 as the dividing line, he split Paul's epistles right down the middle. He revealed that the epistles written prior to Acts 28 are transitional doctrines where the Jewish dispensation still remained. Conversely, only the prison epistles written in the Roman prison after Acts 28, Ephesians, Colossians, Philippians, etc., contain the perfect doctrine of grace directed at the pure Gentile church, born without the medium of the Jews, which is the mystery that was completely hidden in the Old Testament. It was a magnificent triumph that slashed through the tangled yarn that mid-Acts refused to acknowledge to the very end. However, there is no perfect human being in this world. Even Bullinger, who unearthed the secret of Acts 28, fell into one fatal dilemma, the error of extreme dichotomy. Bullinger was so completely convinced that the post-Acts 28 prison epistles were the doctrine of the perfect Gentile church, that he resorted to the extreme of dismissing the entirety of Acts history prior to Acts 28 as belonging exclusively to the Jews. Because the pre-Acts 28 church was not a pure Gentile church, he simply lumped it together and tossed it into a box labeled the Jewish church. But look at the biblical record. When Paul ministered in Corinth and Ephesus, were there only Jews there? No. Countless Gentiles were mixed in. A bizarre mixed state. Too many Gentiles to call it a Jewish church, yet Jewish signs and the law were still alive, making it impossible to call it a Gentile church. Bullinger passed away without ever clearly defining the identity of this middle ground. This very last puzzle piece that Bullinger missed, the most magnificent doctrinal explosion that our channel intends to proclaim to you today, is right here. What did Jesus say as he ascended? Both in Jerusalem and in all Judea and in Samaria and unto the uttermost part of the earth. Acts 1:8. The Bible divides into three, not two. Between Judea and the uttermost part of the earth, that is, between the Jews and the Gentiles, what is there? It is none other than Samaria. Half-bloods who were neither Jews nor Gentiles. Samaria, which yearned for salvation but had not yet reached the perfect truth. The church from Acts 13 to Acts 28 is neither a Jewish church nor a pure Gentile church. It is the transitional period where Jews and Gentiles were mixed together, where the heritage of the Old Testament and the grace of the New Testament coexisted. It was exactly the Samaritan Church. Bullinger failed to see this identity of Samaria. He missed this staggering mystery that this Samaritan church is the spiritual bride, considered the wife, destined to pass through this tribulation, whereas we, born after Acts 28, are the very physical body of Christ itself, which transcends the wife. This is exactly why the name of our channel is Rest in Belief, signifying the physical body of Christ. We inherited Bullinger's great instrument, the boundary line of Acts 28. However, we have taken the strings he failed to discover and left loosely untuned, and we have retuned them tightly to perfection with the flawless truth of the Samaritan doctrine. The Jewish church, the Samaritan church, and the pure Gentile church. The moment the identities of these three churches become clear, the past history recorded in the Bible and the prophecies of the future 7-year tribulation interlock together with chilling perfection. Everyone, all the fog obscuring dispensationalism has now lifted, and the perfect tuning to break the Bible's apparent contradictions is complete. Starting in Lecture 7, we will earnestly open the door and enter into the very essence of our channel and its deepest truth, the Samaritan doctrine. You will witness the hidden mathematical typology of the gospel piercing through Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and extending to Jerusalem, Samaria, and the uttermost part of the earth. We invite you into the majestic world of truth proven solely by the Word, not by human philosophy. Please look forward to the next lecture. Until now, this has been Rest in Belief. Thank you.